Okay, hello, Stephen Edwards. Tell people about your documentary, Syndrome K.
Good morning. So, Syndrome K is the story of three doctors in a Catholic hospital in Rome during World War II that made up a fake disease that saved the Roman Jews from being deported to Auschwitz. It's a true story.
Okay. And how did you learn about this history?
Well, it's funny. I learned about it totally by accident. A couple of music friends of mine posted a meme on Facebook called Syndrome K. Like these doctors made up a fake disease, took place in Rome. I took interest in it immediately because I also happen to be a citizen of Italy. I've also made another documentary that was shot in Vatican City. And so I immediately I want to see this doc. So I went to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. Like, I'm sure this doc is somewhere. Maybe it was made somewhere else, but I can watch it. I'm willing to pay for it. I'm so fascinated. And I couldn't believe my eyes and ears when there was nothing. It's 75 years after the story. So literally in the span of probably less than 2 minutes from learning that the story existed, I made a life decision to make this film, hell or high water.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was that quick. And doing further research, I realized that the main doctor, Dr. Ozacchini, who invented Syndrome K, was still alive at 98 years old and still living in Rome. And so my co-producer, Lynette Turicchi, had a lot of connections in Rome, including with a well-known Jewish journalist there. Got on the phone with her, learned quickly that he's willing to do an interview, and we booked the next flight and flew over there and interviewed Dr. Ozacchini and two Roman Jews that are survivors who are in their 80s. And then the son of Dr. Borromeo, who's also in his 80s. And that was game on,
And you had to ask fast. If he's 98, you got to ask fast.
Well, we interviewed Dr. Ozacchini and Mr. Borromeo in April of 18, and they both passed away by February of 19. So I was the last person to interview. So I feel, and then we started making, it takes a long time to make a doc. But I felt very fortunate to get them on camera. I was really one of the only interviews they ever did.
That's fantastic. So could you recommend any further reading on this topic?
Wow. There's a couple books written about it, but not in English.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Dr. Ozacchini, the main doctor, actually wrote a book called, it was something about secrets on the Tiber, the story of the occupation or something like that, but it's not in English. So there's really precious little information. There's a fabulous book about the Nazi occupation called, I think it's called A War in Rome. I read it a couple years ago, so I can't remember the title, but it's probably the preeminent book. And it's very complete, very exhaustive about the whole 9-month occupation. And interestingly, never once mentioned Syndrome K.
Wow.
So that's how secretive a story it was. And, we went and, the geography is Fate Bene Fratelli Hospital, where this takes place, which is Fate Bene Fratelli means do good brothers. And then it's on Tiber Island, which literally sits on this little tiny island on the Tiber, which is the river that passes through Rome. And then if you stand on Tiber Island and you look across, you see the Great Synagogue of Rome. So the Jewish ghetto is directly across the Tiber. It's literally 200 meters from the hospital. So that proximity is part of the reason that the Jews went to the hospital. So yeah, it's a geographical convenience, as it were. There was a deportation that took place of 1,000 Jews within a few weeks of the Nazi occupation, and 1,000 Jews were deported to Auschwitz, and almost all of them died there. A few survived, and so that's when the Syndrome K stuff started kicking in, because the other ones realized that they had to hide. Yeah.
So it must have been rewarding to get Ray Liotta to do the narration. What did that mean to you personally?
Well, a lot. So Ray's daughter and my daughter went to K through 8 in high school together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And actually, I didn't even think about him to do the narration because, interestingly, a friend of mine was close friends with Al Pacino. So we actually approached Al first. I just didn't think of Ray. I'm not sure why I didn't, because I'm such a fan. But long story short, sent an email to Al's agent, thinking they'd never get back to us. And within 20 minutes, they answered and they said, "Oh, this is a great story, but Al won't narrate anything. He's not producing." And by the way, we also represent De Niro. Same answer for De Niro. Like we wanted to get somebody Italian that had a connection.
Mhm.
And then I was like, well, what about Ray?
Yeah.
I mean, narrations in cinema, my definitely top 2 or 3 of all time is Ray and Goodfellas. I mean, it's
Mm.
literally one of the greatest narrations ever.
True.
So,
Mhm.
I sent an email to Ray and I said, hey, Steve Edwards, do you remember me? Blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
Carson and Bella are friends, blah, blah, blah. He's like, this sounds great. And Carson said, oh yeah, I love Bella. They're still friends. And he agreed to do it. And so my writer, Greg Ballard, and my editor, Greg Hunter, the 3 of us in this very studio where we're doing this interview,
Nice.
got together and watched the first 30 minutes of Goodfellas and just looked at each other in disbelief. Like, I can't believe this guy that narrated this iconic film is going to come do our little film, right?
Mhm.
And he shows up and he was fantastic and
Mhm.
funny and profane and a pro to the pro level, like just an absolute rock star. It was such a treat to spend the day with him. And
So he cranked it out in a day?
3 hours.
Okay.
Yep. He crushed it.
And not a lot of takes, I guess. He was able to do it pretty much. Yeah,
and it wasn't an easy gig because think about it. The doctors are Ozzacini, Adriano Ozzacini, Pietro Borromeo,
All right.
and Sacerdoti, and the hospital's called Fate Bene Fratelli. This is like not the stuff that rolls off your tongue.
All right.
And, you're speaking English all day, and he would fumble on the words once in a while, and we just do another take. A few F-bombs dropped. But he was just, we were so sorry when we lost him. It was just a sad day,
It was a bummer.
Yeah, and he never got to see the film. I ran into him, and he lives in the same town I live in.
Mm.
I ran into him, I forget when it was, and I said, hey, I'm the Syndrome K guy. Hey, want to see it? And he never got to see it, which is really sad. Yeah.
That's a bummer. So could you tell me a bit more, since you have this insight into him, what he was like as a guy?
Oh, just the best. Just the best. I mean, a consummate all business pro, and I have friends that have worked with him and they all said the same thing. He was a true professional and always wanted to know the backstory and wanted to know how he could make it better. Like he just had that, he had that the artistic work ethic that was so great to bounce off of. I mean, we just turned on the microphone and let him go, gave him a script, and he did Ray. It was mostly the pronunciation that was difficult, but in terms of getting him to to put his heart and his soul into a story that he loved, we just stayed out of his way. We just let Ray be Ray. And it was,
how did he die? Was it lung cancer? He was a cigarette smoker, right?
No, not that I know of. I mean,
I
know that for a fact because the day we recorded with him, he didn't want to come till 12 because he was doing his workouts in the morning. So he was pretty health conscious. He passed away somewhere in the Caribbean. He was shooting a movie and they found him in his room. So that's all I know.
Okay. He shot a movie in my uncle's town, and my uncle said in British Columbia here in Canada, and he said that Ray was he would come to the coffee shop and he would talk to everybody, anybody and everybody. He didn't seem to be very pretentious.
No, not even a little. Not, I mean, and certainly not with us. And just a guy's guy. You just wanted to hang out with him.
Yeah, I bet.
With him, and he's just funny, profane. Just a dude. Just one of those guys. Yeah. And we were really sorry. It was just a bad day when we lost him. And again, walking away from it, I feel so fortunate. If you think about this movie, Ray left us something that he's the heart and soul and and he is our tour guide for this film. And Dr. Ozzacini and Mr. Borromeo, the 2 gentlemen that I interviewed in Rome, I interviewed them in April of 18, and they both passed away in February of 19 within days of each other. So, all 3 of these guys in common left us something that we can, pay forward and give to people in a story that needs to be told.
And And as you said, sorry, the Goodfellas narration is legendary, and this is the last movie he ever narrated.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he did some voiceover stuff on some cartoons. I think he
Okay.
worked on Family Guy. He's pretty active.
Yeah.
And there's an Apple TV series right now that he's in that's fabulous, and I'm not forgetting the name of it. It was the last thing he did. They're just putting up episodes now. And I should write that down.
Okay. Well, I don't know what it is, so I'm not going to try to.
Yeah, my daughter's watching it, and she's totally hooked. So
okay, great. Perfect.
Yeah.
So tell me, how long did it take to edit Syndrome K?
Oh, forever.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. We had an hour and 15-minute long version that we took to a couple festivals. And I made sort of an executive decision that there was a whole parallel storyline about sort of the resistance that took place in Rome that we ended up not including in the film. So now it's more of a linear story about, what happened when the Jews were in the hospital, and the 9-month wait that they had, plus the allies working their way from the south of Rome to try to liberate Rome, which took 9 months. So it's really those two stories that vacillate back and forth. And that was kind of enough to tell our story. So we do have the long version. That's not the one we're releasing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How much arranging can you do ahead of time in a documentary through the writing?
How much arranging?
Yeah, I mean, like, how much is actually done through like writing out a documentary, or is it more done in post?
That's a really good question. I mean, the story is a true story, so I'm credited with story by, but it's really not my story. I just put it in order. Really, is all I did, right? And then I picked the characters we wanted to talk about. But the story is the story is the story. It's a true historical account. And then the narration was written by Greg Ballard. So that was, Ray Liotta read a script that Greg wrote. And also Greg wrote the script for the feature film version, which we're trying to make right now. We're trying to make a movie out of this.
Oh, cool.
For sure. Like I tell people, because I'm the guy that made the film, the movie will be better than the doc, right? Because the movie will be like, you'll show the people in the hospital, and you'll show the family struggle, and you'll show Kepler and these Nazi villains with their, perfect uniforms, getting fooled, and just all the back and forth that has to be done. So, so we're actively, and we have a Zoom this week with a director that's taken very strong interest. We have a producing team.
Nice.
So every intention of making a movie of this.
Well, lots of luck with that. Who would you love to work next with if you're going to make another documentary?
Yeah.
Who follows Ray Liotta in terms of narrating?
Oh, good question. Well, I'll tell you what it is. So what we're trying to do right now, I'm changing genres, profoundly. And I did a 3-hour interview with Bill Medley, who was one of the founders of the Righteous Brothers.
Okay.
And the Righteous Brothers is an amazing story. And we're trying to get the wheels turning so that we can actually there's a lot of rights issues we're dealing with. But it's a fascinating story about, a group that came from, Orange County, California, 2 white kids singing black music. The black stations wouldn't play them because they were white. The white stations wouldn't play them because they sounded black. And then they got massively huge. They toured with the Stones, they toured with the Beatles. Bill was friends with Elvis. I mean, there's just all this super compelling stuff. So that's the film I want to make next.
Nice.
All I have right now is a 3-hour interview with Bill. That was unbelievable. And so Bill will be telling, if we can get this movie made, it's Bill Medley. It's him telling the story about what happened in his life. And, he's still singing, still sounds amazing. Just a cool guy to talk to. So that's, if I could make a doc next.
Yeah. Okay, got it. So you've done a lot of, say again, sorry?
The word is out.
So. Okay, yeah, beautiful. So you've done a lot of movie music yourself. What were some gigs that you're particularly proud of?
Oh, geez, so many. I mean, I had 2 pieces of music in Nomadland that won Best Picture, Best Director.
Nice.
So I work on some big ones like that. Dallas Buyers Club has a couple of my songs in it. Nice. So I work on bigger things, and then like right now I'm scoring a movie called Murder at Hollow Creek. It's a low budget movie with Mickey Rourke, who plays a villain, a gangster. I'm literally finishing it as we speak. I just did another movie called Hunt Club with Mia, what's her name? The girl from American Beauty. Now,
Oh no. I
oh,
forget to. Okay. Yeah.
what was the name?
Uh,
It's like Mira or
Maya. Keep
yeah.
going, and then I'll look it up.
So it's like Savari, Mina Savari. Mina Savari.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she plays a woman who, it's basically a revenge movie. The
Mhm.
guys kill a lot of women, and then the women kill the guys at the end. So it's a, one of those kind of movies.
Yeah.
Actually, a
Yeah.
lot of fun to work on. A director called David Lipper. And
Okay.
so I'm really active. I did a TV show about dating
Okay.
called The
Like
Courtship.
online dating or like.
No, like it's like The Bachelorette,
Okay. Okay.
called The Courtship. It takes place. It's basically The Bachelorette meets Bridgerton. So
Okay.
dating, contemporary dating in the 1700s. It's
Oh.
I wrote a bunch of classical music. It was a blast. I worked with another colleague of mine called Mike Subi, and we wrote a ton of music for that.
Okay.
So, a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, I'm really active. I write music almost every day.
Wow.
Yeah. And the other thing I'm probably proudest of is that my first doc called Requiem for My Mother, which you can stream. And it's a story about a piece of music I wrote for my late mother, who died of ovarian cancer in 2004. And it was called a Requiem. And the film was actually, ironically, also takes place in Vatican City. So I've made two documentaries, and they both take place in Italy. Go figure. So, and the music I'm pretty proud of, just in terms of like writing, major choral work with, 50 orchestra, 200 voices, 60 children, soprano, tenor, and baritone soloists. I mean, it was the biggest scope thing I've ever tried to take on. So never a dull moment in my house.
Okay. Well, Stephen, thanks for your time. I really appreciated it. And I enjoyed your documentary. What do you ultimately want people to take away from Syndrome K?
Well, I think it's that people, ordinary people can do really extraordinary things.
Mm.
And my favorite quote from Dr. Ossicini is that bravery always wins.
Mm.
And my quote from Mr. Borromeo that I love was that, there's only one, he said it, there's only one race, it's the human race.
Mm.
And just seeing those guys sitting across the table, even though they were speaking Italian, it translates. It doesn't matter what language it's in. It's true in every language. So it was so inspiring to hear them and to see them and to meet them.
Okay, and it's coming out in August, correct?
August 16th.
Okay,
Yep.
well, I'll tell people to check out Syndrome K. Thanks a lot for your time, Stephen.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.